Hey guys, it's Justin Bianco, and in this video, I'm going to give you the number one change that I made that took my game to the next level. And for me, it ultimately led to me being drafted in the third round in the MLB Draft out of high school. And the one shift that I made, it boosted my stats, yes. It boosted my performance, yes. But it also boosted things internally like my confidence, my mental toughness, my resilience, and my ability to handle the number one thing that we all face in the game of baseball and softball, which is failure. So if you're serious about leveling up, stick around. I'm going to show you how to make the same transformation. And honestly, I think it's something that 99% of you are leaving on the table and not doing right now. In addition to that, I'm going to give you some secrets on how to get noticed by college coaches, on maybe even how to get noticed by pro scouts if that's something that you aspire to do. And really how to dominate your offseason, how to reach your goals, how to become the best and most complete player you can be. And for most of us, it does start in our offseason because we've got to make sure we attack that hard. But before I dive in and get too far ahead of myself, I'm going to share my story with you real quick and just let you know my last 15 years of experience on some of my journeys and some of my experiences. And so about a year before I was born, my father started his own business. He started up a baseball school called Bianco School of Baseball. He started by giving one-on-one private lessons in a public batting cage, and he eventually grew that to be a 60,000 square foot facility with 2 stories, 12 cages on the bottom, and a state-of-the-art field on the top. And so now today, 33 years later, anything a baseball player would need is offered, and teams, leagues, camps, private lessons, clinics, you name it, anything a player would need of all ages, they can find there. And for me personally, from the time I was born until I was 18, I pretty much lived there, right? I learned a lot. I learned a lot from my dad. I learned a lot from other coaches who had came up through there. I probably witnessed about 50,000 private lessons throughout my time in being there, just as a kid and growing up. And so I saw a lot, right? I saw what it took to be a good coach. I saw the things that did work. I saw the things that didn't work. I saw how you have to coach every player a little bit differently. But for all you ball players out there, I'm sure a lot of you watching this also have your own goals, your own dreams about where you see yourself and where you want to go. And so for me, I had those same dreams too. Right, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to get drafted. I wanted to play at the highest level I possibly could play at. And that's what all of us do. We play a game we love and we're passionate about that. And so we want to be able to see how far we can take it. And so for me, while I did have my successes growing up, I also had plenty of ups and downs. And for me, if you take it all the way back to even my freshman year of high school, you're probably assuming somebody that got drafted out of the third round out of high school was always like a varsity starter day one. The truth was I wasn't. So my freshman year, I made the freshman team. I played on that team. I did start. I played well. But again, I was just in the middle of the pack as was everyone else. Then in my sophomore year, I made a scout team in the fall. And so this team was affiliated with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And for me, it was a great experience. I got great exposure to other college coaches being able to watch me. But I played with older players. I played with mostly juniors and seniors. And so I faced pitching that I never faced before, and I struggled greatly because of that. And so I worked my tail off all off season. And then when spring came around, again for the high school season, now I made varsity. Okay, and so then I earned a starting spot, and I felt like I was looking good. I felt like I bounced back. Season starts, I'm batting number 2 in the lineup, and I'm starting in right field, and I'm going good. But as soon as I started to fail, things just kept going downhill from there, and I couldn't get out of my own head, and I couldn't break the slump. And so by the end of the season, I had lost my starting role, I was batting last, and my stats were pretty awful. And this was my first real encounter with failure. And for me, it hit me hard, right? I did start to doubt myself, as do other people as well when they face failure. And I'm sure a lot of you out there have been there too, and maybe you're going through this right now. But for me, fast forward then to the start of my junior year, I was determined that this wasn't going to be me. I knew I was capable of much more. And if this is you, if you feel like you're capable of way more as well, you're in the right place because this was me. So what did I do? I hit the off season twice as hard. I was training more. I was working out more. I got faster and I got stronger. So I'm practicing more hitting. I'm practicing more throwing, fielding, everything, right? Everything I did, I amplified. And now this time, I did everything with a plan. And I didn't just do it when I felt like it. I stuck to it every day without missing a day. And I attended showcases, right? Which, by the way, showcases, for those of you asking how do I get noticed, that's one of the best environments to get noticed by colleges and pro scouts maybe even. And for me at these showcases, now I wasn't just another guy. I was really standing out because I was stronger, I was faster, and compared to the guys that I was being compared to at the showcases, it was noticeable. And it was all because I dominated that offseason. But for me then, before my junior year even started, before my junior season even started, I got offered a baseball scholarship and I committed to the University of Pittsburgh. And so I'm super excited. I'm going to go play baseball at Pitt. And this is where my dad played, and also his three brothers also played there. So it was pretty special. And the spring season came along and more good things started happening. I became the number 3 hitter. I finished my junior season batting .406 was my batting average. And I made the all-section team. So for me now, there was clear proof and evidence that all the physical work had paid off. And again, things were going good, but there really was one thing missing for me. And it wasn't something I could even explain very well. It was something that only I could feel, something that would only make sense to me. Because for me, I still had this dream and vision of getting drafted. And I knew I wasn't all there yet. But the question was, what do I need to do now to make that happen? Because that last year was a great year. I had just put in everything I possibly could. I trained like 5 days a week, a minimum, and it wasn't just one thing I was doing. It was everything. It was the lifting. It was the sprints. It was the hitting. All of the physical skills, and then all of the skills needed as a ball player. But what would be the change? And I knew there was something missing. And for me to have a shot to get drafted out of high school, which is really what I wanted to do, and not that I ever thought about this, but look, statistically, the odds of getting drafted out of high school were like 0.1%. So look, here it was for me. The key for me to breaking through to the other side of that maxed out version of myself, to reaching my full potential, it wasn't physical anymore. I had reached as close to my physical peak as I could get. And so what it was my mindset. It was about improving my mental strength in every area. Mental toughness, supreme confidence, not just being a little bit confident, being confident at the highest level, having laser focus, controlling my emotions better, being cool under pressure, not getting too high, not getting too low, having better resilience, or having more of a commitment to my goals and being crystal clear on what those goals are. And so my senior year comes and I committed to mastering mindset. And what I was doing, I was reading books, I was studying the greats, I was journaling, I was visualizing, a little bit of meditating, a lot of prayer. Prayed about it during the day, I prayed about it at nighttime. So I developed a mental routine and I incorporated this on and off the field. So my confidence grew. My ability to handle failure became, to me, unshakable. And even when I did fail, I didn't stay there. I bounced back right away, way quicker than I did before. Another huge one, I wasn't nervous nearly as much, and I felt in control of each situation, right? I was comfortable even in uncomfortable situations. And so if you've heard that saying before, you want to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. That's when you really have full control of yourself and your emotions. And another thing, when the pressure was on, when the game was on the line, when I had pro scouts watching me, multiple of them, I felt just as confident in those high pressure situations as if we were up by 15 runs. And so I was all in on it, and I felt better than I'd ever felt before about myself and my game. And look, it wasn't like some magic pill either. This was the real work that was put in every day. And it was just work that nobody else really saw except for me. And so what was the result of that season leading up to the draft? For me, It's by far the best season I ever had. My batting average was in the 600s for most of the season. I think I finished batting 583. I stole more bases. I played better defense, played more aggressively. I was a better leader even. And I also had a lot more fun. And so, look, like to put it in perspective, like if I went 2 for 4, that's normally a good day. My batting average actually went down. And look, I don't say this to brag. I say this because I need you to understand the one thing necessary to take your game to the next level is probably not what you think. So June comes and the draft comes, and in 2011, I was selected by the Arizona Diamondbacks as a center fielder, 3rd pick of the 3rd round. And as I played in the minors throughout that time, I got coached by dozens of former big leaguers, guys like the legendary Mark Grace. I played against guys like Manny Ramirez, Francisco Lindor, Javier Baez, and many more. And the bottom line was this: it's not physical only. It's also the physical side combined with the mental side. It's this deadly combination of the two. And you don't want just one. I'm not here preaching that you can just, think about succeeding and just have your mind figured out and not attack the physical stuff. You've got to be able to have both. But when you do have both, you get this maxed out version of yourself. And that was the strategy I adopted and what I believe to be everybody's best opportunity going forward to play as high as you want to play. And so, look, this is my mission. I want to serve others. I want to serve other ball players that are in the shoes that I used to be. And if there was one thing from my journey that I could share, it's that your mindset and your mental strength is the number one separator that will determine how far you go. A really good example of this is look at a guy like Tom Brady. He is the greatest quarterback to ever live, probably the best football player to ever live, one of the best athletes to ever live. Question is this, though. Was he gifted with physical talent beyond, anything other than average? He really wasn't. How about a guy like Pete Rose? Do you know what the scouting report was on him? Short, out of shape, slow, lacks power, and guess what? He has the most hits of anyone that's ever lived. And so these guys are 2 examples of people that use their mindset, right? Their mental skills to propel them to the next level. It's not just all about the physical skills, being the fastest, being the strongest. And the cold hard truth is that even if you are working really hard physically, you're not the only one doing it. And that is the reality of it. Because if I have a sample size of 100 great ball players, I already know 100 of them are working on something physically because we're all doing that right now. But I'll tell you this, less than 5% of them are addressing the mental game. Right? Maybe even close to 1% if you want to be honest about it. Now, a lot of you are working hard, but some of you are not working on all of the right things. And so you don't really have the best blueprints to maximize, as a baseball player, the 5 baseball tools. And I mentioned earlier, you do need to first excel in these skills to get noticed, right? You need some physical skills to get noticed by a college coach. And so I have also developed a very effective off-season program that I used to do myself, and it will help keep you on track and get you there as quickly as possible with those physical skills, if you're willing to put in the work. But look, what's going to separate you? And I'm baffled by how many people ignore the mental game. You do not want to get to a point in your career where it's a toss-up between you and someone else for who moves forward to the next level. You want to be the obvious choice. So look, I said in the beginning of the video, I was going to give you the secret to getting noticed by more college coaches and even pro scouts. And so here it is for that. You need to improve your showcase skills. That's how you get noticed, okay? Simple as that. Because most of you are not going to get noticed from just hitting a double in front of a college or pro scout in one game. Because a lot of guys do that. Now look, you have one great game where you hit a couple home runs in one game. Maybe that's a little different, but how many times is that going to happen, if any? So look, you need to get noticed at showcases that have the right people there and then can see the skills that you have physically first. And here's the deal. I can throw 100 miles an hour, but if nobody sees it, it's not going to mean anything for me. It's not going to do me any good. So again, it's really important that you can excel in the 5 baseball tools that scouts are evaluating on. Now, what are these 5 tools? Running speed, Your 60-yard dash time is specifically what they'll time. Your throwing velocity on the radar gun. Your hitting power, which is exit velocity speed now to showcase usually. 4 is hitting contact. And 5 is your defensive skills per your position usually. Pitchers are different, and so they get evaluated strictly on their pitching abilities and velocity. But the bottom line is they're looking for guys that already have some tools in place. And when you do, now your ceiling is higher. Now you can get fine-tuned when you get into their program or school, because then they can take you and maybe you can work on their program they have set up, and then you can get to another level up from there. And so that's kind of how they look at it. But you got to have something to showcase to start. They don't want to take a guy from scratch and totally have to break him down. So now, how do you improve your tools so that coaches can start to reach out to you? Well, first, you need the right program. All right, and so part of what I do is I give that to players because, again, it's the exact program that I follow that worked for me and led me to excelling at all these showcases. And the showcases for me then got me noticed and got me noticed more than others, and then led to me eventually getting drafted. And so look, in a nutshell, you need a structured game plan to increase your speed as a player, increase your power as a player. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't always need to be rocket science either. I see these funky drills on YouTube, and they got super weird devices maybe, or training tools that, quite honestly, some of them are just pointless and a waste of time and money. But in summary, if you don't remember anything else in the video, remember this. You need a killer off season to get you there, and then you need a killer mindset to keep you there. I'm going to say that again. You need a killer off season to get you there, and a killer mindset to keep you there. And your in-game performance is so related to how strong your mindset is. Guys, this realization for me was life-changing, in multiple ways, mentally, spiritually, and then for me, even financially when I got drafted. And when you're done playing one day, like me right now in my shoes, you're going to start to realize that it's about more than just sports. Okay, the mindset skills that you develop throughout your playing career will also help propel you into the next stage of life as well, because it all carries over. And so, for your future career, for example, I know for me, it really helped me as well. I can hit a ball 450 feet or run a 6-yard dash in a 6'3", or throw the ball 90 miles an hour, but I don't have any of those skills when my career is done with. All I have left is my intellectual skills, my mental skills, my communication skills, things like that. And if you can develop those along the way as well, that help you in your sports career, but also help you in your career after sports, to me, that's huge. Like, why would we be missing out on that? So look, over the past 10 years for me, I've been serving as a head baseball coach, as a private instructor, as a program director, and personally, I've given probably between 15 and 20,000 private lessons myself. And I've learned how to achieve success by focusing on both mental and physical aspects of the game. And for the last 7 or 8 years, I've really dedicated myself to helping others elevate their mental game to the next level. And look, I understand not everyone will go pro. And that's not the point. It's about giving yourself the best chance to reach your full potential in the game that you love and are most passionate about. Right? Because the window is short also. And so if this really is your dream, if this is something that you are truly all in on and fully passionate about, why are you not going all in? Right? That's one of the main things I hear from people when they're done playing. They always look back and say, man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have trained harder. I wish I would have really committed to going after it and seeing how far I could have played. Because then you have a job one day and you're doing the same thing every day, and life can become pretty repetitive. So if you're still playing, wouldn't it fire you up to wake up every day knowing that you're chasing that? Right? That's the kind of mindset that dominates. And so I'm trying to work with athletes to not only develop a positive mindset, I want to help develop a mindset that dominates. And so my mission is to give you more value than you've ever received before, from somebody who's been there, from somebody who's done it. And as a Christian and a person of faith, I'm not here to speak poorly on anyone else. I just want to make sure that you're being coached by somebody that's truly qualified to help you succeed, because there's a lot of them out there. And so my program, who is my program for? It's really designed for a serious ball player, baseball or softball. And I also coach athletes of other sports as well. But my background being baseball, that's usually who will gravitate towards me. Most likely high school players, college players, even post-college players, even semi-pro players, or pro players. Anyone from high school up. Because again, I played at the pro level, and so I'd love to help people who were in my exact shoes at that point as well. Or if I want to help you out, get to that next level, get to the college level or the college D1 level, or some kind of pro level beyond that, that would be amazing. But basically, athletes are still pursuing their dreams or wanting to get to that next level. I will say I don't really work with casual players because it's a commitment. And so, if you're a casual player, you probably wouldn't want to commit to this. Casual player, I kind of mean by somebody who just shows up to the team practices and they don't want to do anything else outside of that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but this would not be who that program would be for. And it's also not for anybody who's looking for shortcuts or like a quick fix. Because here's the deal. In this game, there are no shortcuts to success. There's no guarantees either. And there's no quick fixes. And so, lastly, I would say, it's got to be somebody who's ready to commit and is all in. All right, so what would you get with the program? Again, my goal is to make the program a one-stop shop where, there isn't a single thing we wouldn't cover. And so it essentially would be a full-on 24/7 mentorship with me. So there's one-on-one personal coaching from me once a week we do over a Zoom or a Google virtual call where I create a customized game plan tailored just to you on where you want to go and what you need to improve on. Once we get crystal clear on that, we have regular mindset training sessions. And there's accountability of your weekly progress from myself, that I hold myself accountable towards your progress, but also on your end as well. And so it is absolutely a two-way communication where we work together on this, and it's not just all on you. And that's why that's why this is essentially like a mentorship. You're also going to get full access to all of my private courses that I've made on things like confidence, on things like handling failure. I will help guide you on a customized off-season program. And again, for me, it could be things that I did that got me drafted. And I'll be able to provide the ultimate guidance on, and really I'll be able to provide the best guidance on improving strength and speed as quickly as possible, as long as you're putting the work in. In addition, I have courses on hitting. I have programs to help you out with arm care. I will be able to consult you on the recruiting process and questions you have there, and I'll help you out with things you should be doing to market yourself essentially for that, to get noticed more. And again, this would be for baseball players. A lot of these really important showcases I went to, and so I'm very familiar with them. So I'll help you out. I'll help you figure out what showcases are worth going to, and I'll help take you through the process of how to evaluate a showcase and what to look for so you know it's right for you. I also have a mindset book coming out, and so if you're part of the program, you'll get that book for free. So look, I'll stop talking about it. I know I gave you enough information there, and if you're interested in this, go ahead and just shoot me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is The Mindset That Dominates, and so I'll put that below in the description. And look, I look forward to seeing you. Maybe we can hop on a call together and talk about a good game plan for you.